Namaste, welcome to my channel Attitude of Gratitude. Wish you all happy and purposeful Independence Day. I am feeling very proud and privileged to introduce our guest for today's show. Ms. Namrata Dashmana is a multifaceted leader and has over 18 years of experience, a HR by heart and profession with business strategy as her forte. She is ex-army officer and got her name endorsed in Army Women's Skydiving Team, a proud recipient of Indian Achievers Award for her contribution in nation building and coaching. Namrata also leads CSR Council as Honorary State President Telangana of Women India Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Hello Namrata, how are you? Welcome to my channel.
Thank you, Gauri. Thank you. Jai Hind. Thanks for calling me here. Pleasure to be in your channel.
Yeah, it is my pleasure too. Today's topic, what I have chosen is inspirational lifestyle of an army officer. I feel very proud to be an Indian. A thought came, how can I pay gratitude sitting at home? How can I contribute to my country on the occasion of Independence Day? So idea flashed that if I showcase a real leader who has seen the army world and shared their experiences, contribution to our country, which I believe our youngsters to get inspired to acknowledge the value of freedom, what we are enjoying, and for which many lives are at stake. So, Namrata, we often take this freedom for granted as civilians. So, I truly bow down and honor the bravery of servicemen and women who risk their lives on behalf of our country and citizens. So, I would like to know from you, what does freedom mean to you?
Thanks for asking that question, Gauri. I'll try to do justice with this question. It's very important for us to actually understand what freedom is and what it takes to be free, actually to be where we are now. So
Yes.
talking about self freedom to me now today, as in having lived so many years of my life and uh, have made the successful transition. Now today, freedom to me is being free and ajadi from inequality. Okay, basis on caste, racism, gender, or anything. So for me, freedom to every individual will be when they can step in to do whatever they want. They can enter any temple. There is no stoppage based on caste. They can apply for any job. There is no quota based on gender or caste or any other, minority. There's to be equality in education, equality in starting their business, equality in color. Uh, they don't have to be fearful to travel or to step out of their homes at any hour of the day, and
Yes.
because they're either black or they are women, or there are young girls or they're young boys. So let them be free to do and prosper and progress in lives. So that when we will achieve freedom only when we have our cerebral equality. When we talk about equality, I always make an emphasis that equality of intellect to be there,
Yes.
equality of power of knowledge to be there. See, according to me, lots of damage has already happened in our country, and just because of this inequality, it has affected our country, our nation so adversely that we have to grow back as sone ki chidiya as a nation. And that's the reason why now when this pandemic is there, when we see the entire world getting reordered, when we see the economy of our country getting so thrashed back, uh, this is now freedom to me, is that let there be equality of equation, equality of education, let there be equality of existence of people, no inequality on the basis of color or gender or anything. And then there will be actual freedom. Then they will be actually they will be free to exploit their true talent and unleash their own talent. And then I will see my country again being free from all the poverty, all the inequality. So I hope I answer your question.
Yes, you are rightly said. Like freedom is defined as the state of being free, independent, without restrictions, or released from prison. An example of freedom is
Yes.
definitely a bird being let out of cage. Normally, we see that is
Yeah.
the freedom. So,
Yes.
can you please
Yes.
share it to our audience, like how the life of army people different from civilians? Because we normally see movies and we assume something that life of army people. So, I want to know the real thing. What is the experience there?
Uh, yes, Gauri, life of an army person is really different. See, the fact is that we first of all, I'll try to make it very simple. That first of all, we all are very different. We all are very unique, and based on that, our construct is, and based on our construct, our values are. So we army officers or we army people have certain moral values, uh, which does not come to us, at after joining forces.
Yes.
They have been with us at very, very early stages of life, which when people apply for service selection board, they're identified, they are aligned with the organization. So till that time, even we are not aware that what are those moral values in us. We have studied that book of moral science maybe in our
Yes.
school, but then we ourselves are not are aware at the age of 21, 22 that what are the morals that are governing us, what are the
Yes.
moral values that are governing us. So when we apply in the service selection board, and when we come to know that this is something that what the organization is looking forward, and we are aligned to it, so there that difference is already seen. So it does not mean that people in civil, or people who, or a person who's an IITian, or a person who's an IM, or any other college, or doctors, they do not have their moral values, or they do not. It's just that our moral values being selfless, our moral values of being thinking for others, they were with us right from very early stages of life, and they come very naturally to us, and that's the reason why we get selected. So that is the reason why now when we get selected at the age of 21, 22, they're identified, then they're nourished, they're skilled. How are they skilled and nourished? No one comes to us and teaches us. We are put in such kind of situations where very naturally they keep getting skilled, they keep getting nourished, where very naturally as a leader, to protect my team, to keep their self-respect at the highest stake, I have to keep taking initiatives to protect their lives. I have to keep interacting with the people around, to ensure that when my team is moving for any kind of operation, or for any kind of convoy, they are safe and secure. So all these situations when we are exposed in, these moral values start becoming vulnerable to us ourselves. First we also start realizing that okay, this is me, and that's how we become different from our civil counterparts or our civil friends, and so that's how our construct is basically.
Yeah, it is really evident that what we learn is bookish knowledge as a civilians, but what in army, definitely you're exposed to a situation where you're compelled to learn that, so that stays forever. It's
Yes,
really,
so as civil counterparts also, if these values are there in them also, it's just that they are not identified. We get the opportunity to get identified by first by service selection board. And I always say to whosoever person, I or adult or parent I meet, that even if you're not making your child join forces, but let them at least face service selection board. That process of 5 days tells you that what you actually are. It is the psychological test, it is the leadership test, and the tools that they use in those exams, in those tests, we call it service selection board, is so scientifically designed by some really big scientists, by really well qualified scientists who are sitting in DIPR, we call it Defense Institute of Psychological Research, and it keep getting seasoned, it keep getting changed. That I myself didn't know that, oh, all these qualities were there in me, or these were my moral values. So because nobody teaches us to be selfless, nobody teaches us to be taking initiative, nobody teaches us to say Jai Hind. So these things are identified during that 5 days of service selection board, and that's where we start getting developed, and these moral values are they become very strong in us, and they become our construct basically.
Yes, really, you gave such a nice information that I also didn't know that facing the exam definitely will know the moral what we have. Definitely, I would love to suggest to whoever I meet personally. So I'm really thrilled to know that. So I
Thanks.
have read that you led phenomenal expedition of river rafting of 70 kilometers with your team of 14 soldiers. Our viewers definitely would like to know more about this exciting experience from you.
Yeah, so river rafting expedition, yes, it was really very interesting time, and I was a young captain. Yes, I was a young captain. Months training in Sikkim in River Tista, and it was a time of December. It was a time of October, so winters in Sikkim, and the very harsh winters of Sikkim. I was told to lead this expedition to commemorate our 250 glorious years of my code, which is Army Service Code. So right from selection of my team, I selected my team, the good swimmers who were there in various units. And we called all those people in, we got collected in one place. Together we used to do our training. We campaigned at a place called Bardang, and the entire team used to stay there. And I also used to be with my team. Then our morning used to be at 5:30 with our 5 kilometers of run in the mountains to keep ourselves fit. Then there used to be fitness exercises in mountains where no gym was there, with no, those latest modern equipments were there. Then there was some aqua fitness exercises for which we had called some specialists, again from Army. So they trained us for those aqua fitness exercises, going beneath the raft, coming to the raft, and then jumping from the raft when rapids are there, and all those kind of things. Then afternoon, again, specific aqua exercises used to be there to keep our core muscles strong, to keep our arm muscles strong. And then in the evening, again, our run used to be there along with the team. And then we used to retire for the day. Along with this, as a leader, since I was leading the expedition, my responsibility was to interact with the people in Army headquarters, with Ministry of Defense, to release funds for this conduct of the event. So this used to be my routine in the daytime. Morning 8:30 we used to start our office, and then to interact with the media for having a proper coverage of the event. Then to seek approvals from civil administration to ensure that the event goes seamlessly, to look for chief guests to inaugurate the event. So all these things are not done just with the blink of eye. It used to be a lot of approvals, with a lot of exchange of files, a lot of communication on phone, and convincing them, telling them that this is what we are doing, this is how it is going to be like, and this is what the dangers which are envisaged when we are in the water. So all those kind of activities were also involved, were also required. All these tasks were also required to be executed and were expected by me to ensure that the event goes seamlessly. And then the financial implications related to it, how much is the cost of all the rafts, the cost of the dress that we would be wearing, and the financial implications related to it. All these things were also part of it. And then on the final day, being in the raft, and then we rate the rapids of River Tista. So that has been the conduct.
Wow, very nice. I'm really proud of you because recently I experienced in Himachal river rafting. It is really thrilling experience.
Yeah, it is thrilling. I do agree. I can understand.
So, Namrata, how you handle conflicts? Like as a army person, I would like to know, like professional as well as personal.
Uh, See, yeah, that's a great ask. How handling conflicts is very, very important, and it is very natural that conflicts do occur. So, I'll try to answer this question. When I joined army, there was a clarity in mind that why do I want to join army? At that tender age, I knew that I have to work, I have to be independent, uh, I have to look after my career as well. I have to think for my career as well. So now, what is something that will give me that kind of aha factor, or that give me that kind of some brain stimulating activities and brain stimulating conversations with which environment where I should be in. So I was having that kind of clarity in mind, and then I just realized that why not trying for army. I do have a lot of people in my family having who are part of Army, Navy, Air Force as well. Did interaction with them as well, but then ultimately it was my decision. Nobody forced me, or nobody told me that no, you cannot do, or you don't do for that matter. Nobody till now has told me anything that you cannot do. I've never heard this from my own family that Namrata cannot do anything, and Namrata don't do anything was also never being heard by me. So what I say is that clarity of mind when you have, then it is very easy to diffuse any kind of conflicts. So I had clarity of mind that why do I want to join army? I wanted to take on big responsibility in life. I wanted to take on some kind of impact that I can make. That is the kind of profession I wanted to take, and which I didn't find any kind of civil career or a corporate career or any kind of government job would have been given to me, would have given me at the age of 21, 22 when I joined army. So I filled the form and I got selected. Joined forces, different situations, various situations were there, conflicts were there, that also. And but then this clarity of mind that uh, what is something that will keep me happy, what is something that will not that I will be able to have my peaceful night, peaceful sleep at night, always enabled me to diffuse conflicts or to avoid conflicts, be it personally or professionally. And when we keep developing this, and when we keep following this, uh, the external environment also, which is around you, start recognizing you and start accepting you the way you are. Wherever, when you start compromising on the requirements of other person, be it professionally or personally, so they think that okay, it's okay for her to to accept it. But then when I started expressing that this is what I'm expecting, or this is what I want, I think that helped me a lot in diffusing any kind of conflict that I had faced. Secondly, most important, I feel, is communication, girl. It is very, very, it is one underestimated tool in
Yes.
every relationship, be it professionally or personally.
Yes.
Express yourself, tell yourself, in any organization, in any relationship, in home, at home, at even when you are outside. When you communicate your requirements, your expectations, your emotions in a fine way, it is taken. But then till the time we do not express it, the other person will never come to know that what am I looking forward for.
Yes.